Yeah, this is Point Izzy, coming in hard and off the card, coming with the flow straight from the bottom, and coming with that heat from the damn street. This is PBN Point Black National News, the late and the great edition, and the ghetto edition as well, because this is what we must do at all times. You know what I'm saying? You know, our people have laid down great foundational works, and we are not to discard these things based on our own culture or race. You know what I'm saying? As we see many of the things that are going on today and for years have been going across the land of our forefathers. You know what I'm saying? In complete destruction, you know, slavery, so forth, and all types of things that should not be on the planet, and not just in the African continent. This has facilitated across the whole world to where they are still doing that today. You know what I'm saying? And then when it's said, black people act as if like, oh well, as them Africans, that is me. But just because, like Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin said, just because a bunny or a rabbit, you know what I'm saying, is in America and have bunnies, have little babies, you know what I'm saying, means that they're not rabbits. Rabbits, it don't matter whether it's a rabbit here, rabbit in Africa, rabbit anywhere in the world. If it's a rabbit and it has kids, it's a rabbit. You know what I'm saying? Black people seem to be the only one thing that just because they were born here, that they have no connection whatsoever to the African continent or the African people as a whole. You know what I'm saying? But the simple answer to that one is, well, don't we always say, or the scientists always say, when they look into certain scientific understanding, even findings they're finding in China and different places and all over the world, don't they go back years on that one to figure that out? You know what I'm saying? They do. They're going to go and look back at all those things, even leading up to what they find today. You know what I'm saying? Black people seem to think because they live in America that they're not Africans. Yes, you are. When did that change? Because you call yourself an African American. But Africa, the first word is Africa. You're an African. They're going to make sure you understand that. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at our people today and the disconnection from Africa based on the fact that you were born here, raised here, went through garbage here, did shit to yourself here, and went through all kinds of schematical changes, such as I did in many ways, you know what I'm saying? You know, it didn't change the fact that I'm African and my mother before me. So we have to stop thinking that, you know, just because a rabbit has babies in America, there's not a rabbit. It doesn't change. If I took that rabbit and traveled to Africa with that rabbit and he had babies over there, it's still a rabbit. You know what I'm saying? No matter how many babies he had and what land he had it in, it's still a rabbit. You know what I'm saying? So if you come from Africa or you have African descent, then you are African in itself. That runs through your blood and your veins and through the whole entire globe as a whole. You must understand that it don't matter how many DNA tests you do, how many people they remove from the Egyptian plateau to build a country there, you know what I'm saying, called Israel, which is in Egypt. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? But it goes to show the non-cyclical garbage and the extent in which, you know what I'm saying, wicked people will go about to steal someone else's culture, race, inventions, scientific understanding, you know what I'm saying, even the biblical Bible in which they have is a descent of Egyptian mythology and probably Sumerian and many others. You know what I'm saying? And where they stole and, blended together and mixed it and gave it to you. You know what I'm saying? They will go through all of that just to say it's them and not you. And you will be born in this country and go through the shit you go through and act as if that is not you, in which they're trying to steal from your land in itself. You know what I'm saying? Even painting or creating statues of Caucasian dressing Egyptian regalia and trying to say that's ISIS or trying to say that's some African Egyptian queen. When you know full well an anti-Sheikh Diat, you know what I'm saying, at the Sheikh Diat, you know what I'm saying, he proved that without a shadow of a doubt. And even when he was asked to be given the samples, you know what I'm saying, from the Smithsonian museums and different places who stole our ancestors, you know what I'm saying, they literally were resisting and refusing. And that is not their ancestors. So what would you be doing with the body of an African Egyptian king in a museum in London, Paris, France, America, or France, or wherever? What would you be doing with our ancestors' body if you're not plotting the destruction of the African itself, which you're probably using that as that bottom? But why would you have it in your museums all over the world, you know what I'm saying, of black people, but then going around telling your people and using Egyptologists, crooked behind sick set of individuals, year in and year out to try to whitewash or Arabize African kings of Egypt? Doesn't make sense. Do it. Now we must look at this. We must look at this. While we sitting up there acting as if like we have no ties to the Africans because we're Americans. Just because you're here, you're still standing to me on Africa. You know what I'm saying? First of all. Second of all, just because you're over here and you're black and born here doesn't make you a Riverheadian. It doesn't make you a Southampton. It doesn't make you even what they call American. Like they canned our shit and they changed the word and add can because they canned your asses. You know what I'm saying? And so forth and so on. But just because you were born in Southampton, Bridgehampton, East Hampton, you know what I'm saying, New York City, wherever, as long as you're a black man and a black woman and a black man, you are African descent and African in itself. You know what I'm saying? And there is no change in that because that's the way they see you. It doesn't matter how many friends you have, how many people you correlate yourself with and have a discussion on the matter, or however you try to analyze and fit in with a fast talking, speed talking like you're still in school. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to change that fact. When will it change? Now, the same thing goes for the Caucasian. If you're a Caucasian born in this country, which your people migrated here probably, such as my people came from a foreign land and traveled here billions probably years ago, and have always been here. You know what I'm saying? Till it was commonplace. But many came later on and invade, and now once they invade, you are what you are. So, the history of this race theory thing that's going on, and in many ways, I don't see why a white person today would be offended by what your ancestors did back then. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, if say that was my ancestors that did, and probably did, and what my ancestors did do that. But if people tell me about it, I'm not offended by it because I know the corruption of my people can be. You know what I'm saying? And I know the mind frame of my people that there can be. You know what I'm saying? Many are easily persuaded, many are easily driven, many are easily confused, and many are even brainwashed. And if you talk to them, you could see that. I don't have to go and do too much other than listen to the way you come off based on the way you come at me. And I've never come at you that way. I've always come at people, in a friendly way, in a way of understanding that we all on this planet together. And it's not that just we are one. It's not just that. It's just the fact that we are people on this planet, and we all have to live here in harmony and in understanding. But this has not been the case. You see, even in the political arena, we see the same thing. So where people have this misconception of this is this and this is that and so forth and so on, good for you. In more ways than one, good for you. And we respect your understanding of how you may see it. It is important for us to understand that. Is it? You know, it's important for us to understand that. And that goes for any white person who seems to be, don't be offended by what your ancestors did. First of all, it wasn't you. And second of all, the psychology and the psychiness of the mass of that has been put upon you that when you come forward now, this is what they teach you. So you are only facilitating and going along with it. So people will say, well, you white, so you is contributing to it because you ain't doing nothing about it. But at the same time, what do you expect them to really do that they are already not doing? You know what I'm saying? They are doing it. If you look on the internet, you see many white scholars and many dudes up there dropping that fire in its entirety. They understand it's still going on. They understand a lot of it, but they also understand what took place then as well. What took place then as well. And you have to see it that same way. It's highly important that you do so. So I don't understand what the offense would be. You know what I'm saying? Because if we was to go to the white race and their history and look at the brutality that they did to their very own people, you'd be highly ashamed of that as well. Same go on the other side. Like a lot of people jumping up and talking about that guy who I forgot his name. He wear glasses, got gray hair, seems like a very, very intelligent dude and know a very lot more than he seems to be letting off. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? He spoke of black people having slaves. Now it's all over the internet and everywhere else. You know what I'm saying? But it's not shocking. It's not shocking and it doesn't hurt my feelings at all. Like I said, it was them, not us. If we was in that time, you know what I'm saying, what position would you be in? You see what I'm saying? Is the case and the matter of the situation. So we know that the facilitation of a lot of garbage that went on, our people sometimes, or most of the times, probably even helped and was involved. And the same thing go on the other side. How many wars have took place in Europe? Can you tell me how many wars, discrimination against certain groups, and so forth took place in Europe? Can you? I don't think you can. But when we look at it historically, you would see hundreds of thousands or millions of cases going back many years to now, probably. You know what I'm saying? So we both have an understanding of invasion, bullshit, garbage in the mix of the richest pot, brewing, stirring, you know what I'm saying, and so on. This is nothing to be shocked about. What we need to be discovering is what we don't know about when it even comes to across the galaxy and space as a whole. You know what I'm saying? The regular people are completely oblivious to many of these things. You see what I'm saying? To where something happened and you see certain things and you're shocked and you're, oh my God, what is this? And so on and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of beings that have been here and always probably been here that we don't know about while they're talking about some Area 51 and all this secrecy and shit. You know what I mean? I mean, what the secrecy could really lead to is not even shocking because we know. We just probably have never seen, so maybe it will shake you up a little bit, but we know there has to be more to this than just us. So we must always look at our culture, our race, and our understanding of our people. You know what I'm saying? This is the way you correct the problem. You see what I'm saying? This is the way you correct the problem. You see? But when we even look in here on today's news, you know what I'm saying? Because that was the morning commentary. You know what I'm saying? Now we're looking at the news 12 hours ago, Eastern Standard Time, coming off the T Ware. You know what I'm saying? Look like the T Ware, Texas writer. You know what I'm saying? And he's dropped this joint right here based on the migrant situation and the migrant transport from the border to Dallas makes a surprising request. So the migrants that are being transported, you know what I'm saying, from the border to Dallas makes a surprising request. You know what I'm saying? As we see. And that request is most of the migrants who recently, you know what I'm saying, crossed the southern border, as we see, you know what I mean, cross the southern border and receive a bus ride to Dallas, you know, dream of going to where? New York. Oh, yeah, the Epic Center. Uh-huh. New York City. But some asylum seekers started making a surprising request, you know what I'm saying, the New York Post reports. Every month, hundreds of migrants, you know what I'm saying, are transported, you know what I'm saying, to uh, Oakland and United Methodist Church in Dallas. In Dallas. You know what I'm saying? The church helps, you know what I'm saying, them to reach their destination in more ways than one. It helps them to reach their destination, which includes New York, Chicago, and Miami. You know what I'm saying? Texas charity workers, you know, say they tell the migrants about the overrun shelters in New York City, but that doesn't matter to the migrant. They still want to go there. It is their most requested destination. It's there that the most requested destination is New York. You know what I'm saying? According to the Post. According to the Post. So most of them want to come from the border, from what they're saying, from the border to New York City. To New York City. You know what I'm saying? The Epic Center. Oh, yeah. You should send them to New York because it wasn't Mayor Cue Ball, Greasy Head Adams and you're borrowing millions of dollars and trillions of dollars, and now even Kathy asking for more money, but yet still the migrants are still sleeping on the sidewalk. And Brooklyn is now being overrun, the black community. So what are they doing? Using the migrants to push the black people out? I wonder. hmm But we see now, you know, according to the Post, you know, they're coming with a dream. They're coming with a dream. And they're not willing to let it go. Even when they know New York shelters are, you know, saturated, you know, Pastor, Isabel, uh, I think his name is Marquez, said, you know what I'm saying? But you should expect that. You know what I'm saying? And people in New York is talking about the quality of life and all types of different stuff. But you voted for the creepy Joe Biden and his open border policy, so you really should be helping instead of talking crap. You know what I'm saying? There is no more room for migrants in the city. You know what I'm saying? However, Mayor Greasy Q Ballhead Crooked Ass Adams, you know, re, re I guess he re, he reiterated, I guess, the city is at max capacity and cannot handle another additional influx of migrants, urging those seeking asylum to consider other cities. You know what I'm saying? Per Fox News. For days, some migrants slept on sidewalks when there was no more space in the shelter. They now crowd into various places, including, including churches, hotels, and parks. You tell me. So while the creep Joe Biden set up this asylum seeker open border bull, you know what I'm saying, and people are now complaining, yet the worst is yet to come because you were forewarned about about electing creepy Joe Biden and his administration because we knew he was going to do all of this. This is not something that was surprising in any shape or form. We knew what the creepy Joe plans were. You know, he ain't no more than to me, a racist Marxist. And that's why the demon Democrats were able to change the black people's mind because they used the demon democratical groove of doing good things, but their agenda is completely something else. Like I said, they don't practice what they preach. So you better be very careful of betrayal because betrayal is a motherfucker. Let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? But we see in this matter, you know what I'm saying, turn the people around, get a bus out of here. They can't come here anymore. There's no more room. This is coming from the New York City Councilwoman Vicky Palladino, you know what I'm saying? Palladino ex, ex claimed as she expressed her frustration about the situation in the Fox News report. She also laminated that it's running the citizens' quality of life. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, it's ruining the citizens' quality of life. Well, my question was, isn't that what the creep Joe Biden wants to do in its ways? That was part of the open border policy plan. And he know full well where these people are going to end up. They're not going to end up in Biden's neighborhood. You're lucky if they even get into the rich neighborhood, which they probably will. So even that is looking shady and shisty. So there's a lot going on in itself. A surprise destination was recently added to the list of Iowa. Yes, Iowa. There are no sanctuary cities there. Oh yeah, but New York definitely fucking them in. Plus, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds announced that the state is sending about 100 National Guard troops to Texas. You know what I'm saying, to help operate Lone Star secure the border. Yet asylum seekers say they want to go to Iowa. Oh, yeah. You see? So we see the nonsense that's going on in the Creed Joe Biden administration cause on our country. And Mayorkas sit right there, you know, with a name called Mayorkas. So you know he a sellout for them. And he's going to definitely go along with the Creed Joe Biden plan because this is no more than a Luciferian plan. But black people are sleeping on the plan. You know what I'm saying? They're still thinking it's a joke. And they're still thinking that they got it so secure while they stab each other in the back, talk shit about each other, beat each other up, and shoot and kill each other. You know what I'm saying? But the real enemy slides away. But we see ex-governor Patterson, David Patterson, outline reasons New York City could be headed for a 70s style Doom migrant crisis at the tipping point. You know what I'm saying? This is coming in by, I think, Jog Fitzgibson one day ago. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you see her name, Jog, I guess. New York Post, you know what I'm saying, one day ago, no Eastern Standard Time. But we see the former Governor Patterson warns, you know what I'm saying, Sunday that he